one of my favorite things about Hong Kong is the concrete jungle and the real jungle being so close together. I've always loved walking through the mountains. It's so beautiful and so peaceful. And I like, even though like my personality, I'm very extroverted. I love going out and hanging out with people, but I also do need my downtime. I need my solo time to think and organize my thoughts. Ever since high school, I can remember as a teenager walking through the streets of West Jordan, Utah, with my Walkman on, listening to the Smiths and Depeche Mode and The Cure, and just always thinking about what my life should be like. All right, looks like, yeah. I'm gonna have to turn around here as we can see this sign here. So signs there, beware of the vicious dog. Although it doesn't sound very vicious. You can hear him there in the background, but that's okay. No need to go walking on other people's property if they've gone to the trouble in a place like this to put up a fence. So, all right. Normally, I'm filming with my phone vertically instead of horizontally to do my Douyin videos. So I'm getting used to this format for YouTube. So I get used to looking at the camera. Just like any other art form, the more time you take to master it, the more you'll get better at it. Just keep practicing, keep practicing. So, all right, so let's talk about a little more introduction in me. I feel over the years I've been very passive in I get a lot of interviews, being the fourth expat actor in Hong Kong television. Let's make that clear. So in the 1960s, there was a teenager named Anders Nelson. He was number one, and I still love hanging out with him when I get the chance. Such a cool guy. His family came from Sweden, came to Hong Kong to be Christian missionaries. There's a number two guy that I've heard talked about before, but I've never met him, and I can never remember his name. Number three, Greg Rivers, Hall Goldwing. When I came to Hong Kong for the first time in 1995, I was watching, you can see in the back there, one of Hong Kong's beautiful high-rise buildings. This one's up on the hill, so they get a great view. Okay, so when I came to Hong Kong in 1995, there was this white guy on TV. Now, I was already watching TVB shows as early as 1991, when I was an LDS missionary working in Boston with Cambodian refugees. They were watching TVB shows dubbed over in Cambodian. I had Vietnamese friends who were the first people that introduced me to these shows, and they were watching it dubbed over in Vietnamese. But when I came to Hong Kong, I was already watching these for years, and I loved the TVB dramas from back then. So it was so fun to start learning them, watching them, and learning Cantonese. And at that time, I saw this white guy on TV, and I thought to myself, wow, if he can do that, I can do that. Of course, I had to learn to speak Cantonese first, and luckily within my first year and a half here in Hong Kong, I had basic conversation down pretty good. I still had a pretty strong, they call it the Guilo accent, the foreigner accent. And that took me a few years later to start figuring out how to work and fix that. Most of the time now, people notice how little of an accent I have in my Cantonese, and I'm proud of that. It was not easy, but I think it helps that I have a certain talent for languages. So because of that inspiration from Greg, after going back to Utah to finish a degree at the University of Utah, from 96 to 99, and then I graduated and came right back to Hong Kong. I was working in the IT industry for a couple years, but I wanted to act. And my second company after graduating, there were a lot of models and people that did part-time acting or just extra work, and they told me that there was always a need for expat extras in Hong Kong. And so they gave me some introductions, and so I started in 2001 working as a part-time extra in addition to my full-time IT job until about 2003, 2004. The dates get blurred to me because a lot was going on in my life back then, which I'll get to in another video. I decided I was not going to focus on IT anymore. I was just going to be an actor full-time. Looking back 20 years ago to that decision, hindsight is 2020. It wasn't the smartest decision, but it worked for me. And how that worked, I'll tell you in the next video.